criminal and takes him to jail. And I noticed also that the jail is located in the courthouse. The courthouse has what's called a courtroom, and this is where they take the defendant. They take him before a judge in the courtroom, in the courthouse, after they've taken him from jail. He comes up before the bench. It's an important piece of furniture because to protect the bench is a bar, which is a rail. And if you want to see how important this bar and this bench is to the sacrament that goes on in the courthouse, just lean on the bench and see what the judge says. It's absolute sacrilege. I tested it once. And this judge wants you to have a lawyer so that you can cross the bar to approach the bench. You don't do that when you go into an insurance office to buy an insurance policy. Then this lawyer wants to enter a plea for you. Then the judge finds you guilty of crime. This makes you a criminal. And he levies a fine. And did you ever notice the fine is always accompanied by court costs? Isn't that strange? Every court in America levies fines with court costs. Did you know that every court in Poland levies fines with court costs? And they do the same thing in the People's Republic and Japan and Argentina. Now, if you don't like the decision you got out of this judge, you can take it to the Supreme Court. You can appeal. And this is called the civil service. Now, in ancient times, when Moses ordered the system in Exodus 18 and in the book of Leviticus, you'll find that this policeman was called the high priest's servant. You'll remember Peter cut off the high priest's servant's ear when they were in the garden. That's called assault today. Secondly, this thing called crime is known as sin in the Bible. When you break a law, it's called sin. You'll see the definition of that in 1 John 3:4. Then they put you in ward. Remember, Peter and the apostles were constantly being put in the dungeon. They called that, we're going to put you in ward. We're going to hold you until they can take you to the temple. And that's where the dungeon is. It's in the temple. And where's your courthouse here in this county? Is it here in Denver? Is that the temple here in the county? Is that where your jail's located? Then they take you into the courtroom, which in ancient times is called the holy place, before the high priest. How do your judges dress out here? Do they all dress in dresses? Yeah, they do that back where I'm from too. Now that's a little strange, don't you think? It's the only place on the planet where a man dresses in a dress to go to work. But that's an important symbol. You see, he's wearing the holy linen ephod, which was white or red. But this guy's got the color right because he's working for Satan. He's got the black linen ephod, and he's going in there to enforce the Roman civil law, the Uniform Commercial Code, at the altar, which is called the bench. And he sits on the altar, and you approach the altar through the veil. You had to pass the veil to get into the holy place. This is, of course, the fellow who takes you in there, the lawyer, is called the intercessor. For those of you that are Catholics, you understand how Mary is the intercessor, and you can't go pro se to the throne of grace boldly. You've got to go with Mary. To do what? To offer a prayer. And in a civil action to this day, it's called a prayer for relief. And who are you praying to? Aren't you praying to the high priest, who finds you guilty of sin and levies upon you a sinner, a sin offering, which in ancient times was a ram of the first year. You see, under the common law, we deal in property. Under the civil law, we deal in choses and action. So if you went to a Levitical priest, the Levitical priest would say, okay, I find you guilty of the crime that you've been charged with, and I'm going to fine you 1 ram of the first year, which is worth about $100 in today's money. But he would also lay upon you a heave offering called 2 turtle doves. So he would require that you bring him 2 chickens or 2 turkeys. And he took those home and fed his family with them. In Idaho, this is called the Judge's Retirement Fund, except that you pay it in dollars, and he's paid a retirement check, and he goes down to Safeway and buys his turkeys and his chickens. But it doesn't make any difference whether you give him the chicken or the turkey, or he buys it from Safeway. It's still the same system, except that we've changed the names, you see. That way it's not religious. Now, if I called this guy over here a judge, oh, well, that's very secular, isn't it? If I call him a high priest, well, that's kind of religious, ain't it? Now, after the heave offering, if you don't like this, you could appeal this to the Holy of Holies. You appealed this to Aaron the high priest, and you did this once a year in the Holy of Holies. This was called the Levitical priesthood. Today we call it the civil service.